Hey guys, welcome to your first virtual towers lesson of the year. Sorry I'm out today. I'm actually at a conference, so while I'm away, you guys will just get this quick 5 to 6 minute video on the topic for the day. Before we get to it, just a couple of reminders. Due Friday is going to be your next take-home weekly review quiz. All right, so hopefully you guys will get that at the end of the period. And in addition, our first test of the year will be next Tuesday on both our factoring unit and our unit on rational expressions. With all that said and done, today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting algebraic fractions that already have like denominators. So hopefully, as you guys have your steps here and can start jotting them down, hopefully you remember from back in your earlier math days, situations where you were looking to add fractions like so. So for instance, let's say we were given 3/5 and we wanted to add to it 4/5. Well, hopefully as you remember, we are allowed to combine these two fractions because they have that common denominator. In this way, we can combine the same type of fraction. In this case, we are combining how many fifths we have of each group. And in this case, all we're going to do is just combine our numerators together and finish up with 7/5. Well, what you guys see here numerically is going to happen in algebra as well. Given that LCD, or least common denominator, we're going to add or subtract the numerators together and keep the denominator the same. It is not changing as you see in the numerical example. The only additional step here, which tended to happen from time to time in numerical fractions, is to reduce our final answer. To do so, a little factoring might be involved. So here's where the factoring skill ties in. All right. We're going to jump right to some more challenging examples as you guys see here. All right, so for examples 3 and 4, if you guys can follow along, we have one adding and one subtracting question. Now, in order to add our fractions, the first thing we're going to look for is that LCD. And in this case, that denominator is given to us. So we know that our answer will have that same denominator in it. And we will put it in the denominator of our final answer. For the next step, to complete our numerator, we're simply going to look to combine like terms that our two numerators have. So this numerator, our first numerator, has a 2y that can be combined with 3y of the other fraction. In this case, we create a numerator of y squared plus 5y plus 4. Now, to finish this off, as easy as that seemed, our answer is not finalized or reduced completely. So here is where we bring back our skill that we learned a week ago of reducing algebraic fractions. We're going to factor the numerator using old GCF skills, or excuse me, old trinomial skills. And we're going to do the exact same to the denominator. And with all that said and done, we can reduce away common factors and complete our answer like so. Now, if addition is that easy, so is subtraction. The only difference here, guys, is this minor detail that I'm about to show you. Once again, we have an LCD, a common denominator. So our final answer will once again have that common denominator as a part of it. But if you notice with the subtraction, what we have to account for is the fact that this numerator here, the second numerator, although those parentheses are not there, they are technically grouped together. And if you remember, that minus sign is acting like a coefficient of -1. The only detail that you have to watch out for with subtraction is to distribute that -1 first. Without that, you're not going to be able to combine like terms correctly. So make sure that you are distributing that -1 like so. That will leave you with -2z minus 40 in that numerator. So we're going to then combine like terms just as we saw before. Well, the only like terms that these two numerators have are these guys. When combined, we create a numerator of z squared plus 3z minus 40. And just like before, no difference. To get our final answer, we're going to look to factor. So our original numerator is factored using old trinomial skills. Our denominator has a basic GCF. Reduce away like fractions, or excuse me, like factors. And what remains is your final reduced away answer. Guys, that's all there is to it. So with looking to add and subtract your algebraic fractions or your rational expressions, if given an LCD, if given a common denominator, we are going to keep that denominator as is, as we see in step 1. We're going to combine our numerators. The only thing to make sure of is with our subtraction skill to watch out for that coefficient of -1 that has to be distributed. And in the end, reduce that final answer to a much nicer solution than before. Tomorrow, we're going to see how to do the same exact skill with unlike denominators, all right? But in the end, it'll all boil down to exactly this same skill set. With all that said, you guys can complete the rest of the worksheet in small groups or by yourself, whichever you choose. It is due for homework. And again, just to remind you, weekly reviews and all other things due for this week. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.